What I'm going to show you now is an Egyptian ritual so simple and powerful that it was kept secret for millennia. And the reason is simple. If everyone knew how to do it, the power structure of the world as we know it would collapse. Forget everything you've learned about the law of attraction, mantras, or positive thinking. The truth is, you were taught to ask, to pray, to shout to a universe that is completely deaf to your words. That's why you fail. That's why you get frustrated. But today, I'm going to hand you the key. The universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to who you are. It reads a silent language you emit 24 hours a day. And in this video, I'll teach you how to use this language to manifest anything you desire, to the point where those around you look at you and have no choice but to call you a witch. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn in the next few minutes isn't theory. It's an instruction manual. And before we begin, comment below, "Silence is my decree." Let's seal this pact. Imagination is not a state. It is human existence itself. This truth is not new. It is the foundation of ancient Egypt, a civilization that not only built pyramids but also manipulated reality itself. They knew that the universe responds to hidden laws, a knowledge personified by Thoth, the god of wisdom. He was not a god of brute force, but the architect of the cosmos, the master of a much more subtle and effective power. Thoth's domain was the magic of creation through vibration. Legend has it that he gave us hieroglyphics not as mere letters, but as vibrational keys, codes capable of programming the matrix of reality. The Egyptians understood that shapes and symbols could shape energy and consequently matter. They didn't ask, they decreed it through a lost science. This knowledge was kept in the mystery schools, accessible only to an elite. There, initiates learned not to pray, but to become. The first step was a vow of absolute silence. They knew that power is not displayed, it accumulates in stillness. Speaking of a desire before its time was the same as killing it, dissipating the energy necessary for its creation. For them, silence was a technology, a sacred incubator where the seed of desire could germinate, protected from the doubt and envy of the world. This stillness concentrated energy, creating the internal pressure necessary for manifestation to burst forth into the physical world. What is nurtured in secret becomes unshakable, while what is announced too soon dies. Within these temples, one learned to communicate with the universe through one's own being. They didn't beg for rain. They became the energy of the storm. They unified their life force, Ka, with their consciousness, Bear, to become an effective spirit, Ak. This science of incarnation is resurfacing, but to use it, one must first understand the flaw that sabotages 99% of people. The mirror that doesn't lies. The flaw that sabotages almost everyone is hidden right under our noses in the modern world's obsession with the spoken word. Our society is built on speeches, promises, oaths, contracts, and endless conversations. We live immersed in an ocean of sound, believing that what we say defines who we are and what we can achieve. But if, for a moment, you could silence all this external and internal noise, what would really remain? Just one thing: your state. The silent vibration, the pure frequency that your body and your energy field emit endlessly. And this, and only this, is the language that reality understands and responds to. To understand this clearly, imagine reality as a giant, perfectly polished mirror. You can stand before it and spend the entire day shouting the most beautiful affirmations. I am incredibly happy, I am perfectly healthy, I am abundantly wealthy. The mirror will remain cold, impassive, completely indifferent. It is, for all intents and purposes, deaf. It wasn't designed to hear your words. It was designed to reflect your image. It doesn't respond to what you say. It obeys who you are. If you force a smile, it reflects a forced smile. If your posture is one of defeat, it reflects a defeated one. This is exactly how reality works, like cosmic biofeedback. You can spend hours of your day repeating the mantra, I am prosperous, but if, as you walk down the street, your shoulders are hunched under the invisible weight of unpaid bills, if your stomach tightens into a knot of anxiety every time you think about your bank account, your physical and energetic body is vibrating at the frequency of scarcity. And the mirror of reality, with ruthless and impartial honesty, will reflect back to you more situations, more circumstances, and more experiences that resonate with this vibration of lack. Your inner vibration, your state of being, will always have a much louder volume than the words that come out of your mouth. They end up canceling each other out. This is why so many people feel frustrated and betrayed by the promises of self-help. They try to use the paint of words to paint a picture of a new life, without realizing that the real brush is the body, the emotion, the feeling. Your physiology is your most honest prayer. You can't fool the mirror. You can't tell it you're confident while your hands are sweating with nervousness. Think of the universe as a wild, intuitive animal. It may not understand the complexity of your language, but it instantly recognizes the energy behind it. It senses your fear, even if your voice tries to sound courageous. It senses your calm, even if you don't say a word. It senses your inner authority, your certainty. As long as you keep trying to stage a theater of positivity with hollow words, the universe will continue to unmask you, delivering results that perfectly match the state you truly carry within. Reality always exposes who you are, not who you claim to be. It is for this fundamental reason that the first practical step of the ritual I'm about to teach you doesn't involve speaking, reciting, or asking for anything at all. Rather, it begins with a silent act of power, an internal movement that realigns all your energy before any external action is taken. The first step isn't about what you're going to say to the universe, but about the irrevocable decision of who you choose to become from now on. Because before you can see a new image in the mirror, you must first change the posture of the person looking into it. The first step, choosing the laser. Now the ritual truly begins. And its first step is undoubtedly the most crucial of all, the foundation upon which all magic will be built: choice. But make no mistake, I'm not talking about a casual choice, like selecting an item from a restaurant menu. This is a sacred choice, an act of absolute and relentless focus. It is precisely at this starting point that the overwhelming majority of people seeking to manifest their desires stumble and fall. They want it all, and they want it yesterday. More money, the perfect love, the dream trip, professional recognition, a sculpted body. The result is an energetic cacophony. This multiplicity of simultaneous desires generates a divided, chaotic, and irremediably contradictory vibration. It's like trying to tune in to 10 different radio stations at once, frantically turning the knob. What you get isn't music, but white noise, irritating, meaningless static. And the universe, being a field of resonance, doesn't respond to noise. It responds to a clear, coherent, and unified signal. The dispersion of your energy in multiple directions ensures that none of them will have enough strength to have a real impact on your reality. You become a general trying to fight 10 wars on 10 different fronts, and the inevitable result is defeat in all of them. Choosing a single, powerful desire doesn't mean you're giving up all your other dreams forever. On the contrary, it means you're being strategic. It means you're focusing all your life force, all your creative energy, like a laser beam. Think of the difference. The diffuse light from a regular light bulb can illuminate an entire room, but it's weak and scattered. However, the same amount of energy, when concentrated into a single point, into a laser beam, acquires the power to cut steel. Your manifesting force, your car, operates on exactly the same principle. By selecting a single, clear goal, you are gathering all your previously fragmented life energy into a singular focal point, giving that intention unimaginable power and potency. This conscious choice is your first true act of deliberate creation. It is your silent but unequivocal declaration to the universe that you are no longer a leaf in the wind, a passive victim of circumstance and random events. You are taking the helm, becoming the conscious director of the film of your own life, rather than merely a supporting actor following a script written by others. So, the first practical step is this. Silence the deafening noise of your multiple desires. Find a quiet place, take a few deep breaths, and dive within. Ask yourself, not your logical mind, but your soul, what is the one desire that, if fulfilled now, would act like a rising tide, lifting all the other boats in my life? What is the central domino that, if toppled, would start a positive chain reaction, realigning my entire existence? Don't choose what seems easiest or quickest. Choose what resonates most deeply with your being. Feel the vibration of this already manifested reality. Allow yourself to feel, for a moment, what it would be like to have already achieved this goal. Choice is not an act of limitation, but an act of supreme power and intelligent focus. It is the exact moment when you cease to be a mere spectator of your dreams and become the origin point of your new existence. The crystal clarity of your choice is the driving force that will fuel and guide all subsequent steps of the ritual. And once this sacred choice is made, the next step is to learn to protect it with the oldest and most powerful tool known to humanity. The second step, the vow of silence. Once your sacred choice has been made, once you've aimed your laser at a specific target, the ritual demands that you take the second step. And this step demands a discipline that the modern world has not only forgotten, but actively combats. The vow of silence. We live in an age of overexposure, a culture that conditions us to share every thought, to flaunt every step, to announce every goal before we even begin to pursue it. We've been led to believe, mistakenly, that verbalizing our desires makes them more concrete, that seeking external validation strengthens our resolve. But the initiates of Thoth, and all true magicians and mystics throughout history, knew the immutable truth. The exact opposite happens. Every time you speak about your newly planted desire, especially to someone who doesn't vibrate at the same frequency of faith and certainty, you commit an act of energetic sabotage. You are, metaphorically, exposing your fragile and vulnerable seed to the freezing wind of doubt, the frost of cynicism, and the insects of envy and other people's scorn. Every word spoken about your sacred goal is a small hemorrhage of vital energy, a drain of power that weakens your creation. Think of your desire as a precious seed you've just planted. What does a wise farmer do? He buries it in the darkness and stillness of the earth. He doesn't dig it up every hour to show it to his neighbors, asking if they think it will grow. He leaves it alone in the darkness, in the silence, protected and invisible, allowing its roots to grow deep and strong enough to break through the surface of the soil on their own. Your desires operate under the same natural law. Silence is not the absence of activity. It is the greenhouse, the sacred womb that protects the gestation of your new reality. Silence is not emptiness, it is incubation. It concentrates energy, building the inner pressure necessary for manifestation to finally burst forth into the physical world with strength and vitality. Ancient shamans guarded their visions in absolute secrecy until they became reality. Great inventors protected their brilliant ideas in total secrecy until they were ready to be patented. What is truly sacred is not proclaimed to the four winds. It is protected in reverent stillness until it becomes so solid and unshakable that no external force can ever destroy it. By making a conscious vow not to share your desire with anyone, you elevate it from a mere wish to a sacred secret between you and universal intelligence. It ceases to be a bargaining chip for social conversations and becomes honored for what it truly is, a divine seed in the process of being born within you. Each time the urge to share arises and you contain it, you are not repressing yourself. You are redirecting that energy inward, further strengthening your intention. The vibration begins to spin more strongly, like a sphere of light growing within you. This sphere of energy becomes increasingly dense and powerful until it reaches a point of critical mass where the external world, the mirror, has no choice but to reflect the image of this new reality. Always remember this hermetic law: what is shared too soon dies. What remains silent and nourished in the stillness of being blossoms with irresistible power. And now that your seed is properly planted and protected by the fertile soil of silence, the time has come to learn how to water it, to nourish it so that it can finally grow and bear fruit. With your seed protected in the soil of silence, how do you make it grow? The answer was brought to the modern world in a shocking and direct way by a 20th century mystic named Neville Goddard. He rescued Egyptian wisdom and translated it into a language our rational minds could begin to comprehend. His most powerful and controversial statement was, "Imagination is God." He wasn't saying that imagination was a gift from an external deity, but that the very act of imagining, when done with feeling and conviction, is the creative power of the universe acting in and through you. When you close your eyes and construct a vivid scene in your mind, you're not just daydreaming or indulging in a useless fantasy. You're actually engaging in the most potent act of creation. You're building an energetic mold, a detailed blueprint in the quantum realm. You're literally giving birth to a parallel reality that, if nourished and sustained with feeling, has an inherent pressure to manifest and solidify in your physical world. Imagination is the soul's secret workshop, where matter is sculpted before it becomes visible. Look at everything in the human-made world. The chair you're sitting on, the device you're watching this video on, the building that shelters you. Absolutely everything, without exception, first existed as a silent, persistent image in someone's imagination. To the rest of the world, it was merely a fantasy, a delusion, an impossibility. But to the Creator, it wasn't a fantasy. It was a state of being. It was an internal reality so vivid that the external world had no choice but to conform to it. And the state of being, the vibration, always trumps apparent reality. True prayer, according to this ancient wisdom, is not an act of supplication performed on one's knees with the words of a beggar. True prayer is an act of assumption. It is assuming, here and now, the feeling of your desire already fulfilled. It is not about saying, "Please, universe, give me this," but rather about entering a state of gratitude and feeling obligated, because this is already mine. It is an act of inhabiting the ultimate reality, of living from the end, even if your physical senses do not yet confirm it. You are not pretending. You are being faithful to a greater reality that your eyes cannot yet see. This is the secret to making your seed grow. You don't just protect it with silence. You water it daily with the living waters of your sensory imagination. It's not enough to think, "I want to have money." You need to, in your imagination, feel the texture of the bills in your hand. You need to hear the sound of the bank app notifying you of a new deposit. If your desire is love, it's not enough to think, "I want a partner." You need to feel the warmth of a hug, hear the voice of your loved one, and feel the joy and peace of being in a healthy relationship. You're not lying to yourself. You're rehearsing a new vibrational truth. You're consciously teaching each of the trillions of cells in your body what it feels like to live in this new reality. You're calibrating your nervous system for a new future. Imagination ceases to be an escape from reality and becomes the workshop where your new reality is meticulously forged, piece by piece. And this practice of watering your seed with the feeling takes us directly to the beating heart of the ritual, the step that transforms the invisible into the visible. The third step, vibrational incarnation. We now reach the climax of the ritual, the fusion point where all the previous steps converge to generate true magic. This is the moment that transforms potential into kinetic, theory into reality. With your unique desire chosen, duly protected by the sacred cloak of silence, and nourished daily by the waters of sensory imagination, we reach the step that effectively materializes your dreams. Vibrational incarnation. Here you completely cease being someone who wants something and become the desired thing itself. You merge with your desire. It's no longer enough to simply think about your desire or visualize it for a few minutes a day. Now you need to move like the person who already possesses it. You need to breathe like the person who has already achieved it. You need to make decisions and act in the world as the person who lives this reality. Your physical body becomes the altar of manifestation. It cannot lie, and as we've already established, the universe, the great mirror, reads the infallible language of the body and energy, not the deceptive and wavering language of words. Incarnation is the final seal that validates your intention. This practice of consciously embodying a state was central to Egyptian traditions and was known as Sekem. Sekem is the energy of spiritual power, the life force that can be consciously directed and embodied to effect changes in reality. It's not about putting on a show for others, pretending to be something you're not to impress. It's a deep and authentic internal realignment, done for you and by you. It's an act of total coherence between your mind, your emotions, and your physical body, generating a powerful and unequivocal signal to the quantum field. If your desire is for financial abundance, incarnation isn't about spending money you don't have. It's about embodying the calm, security, and generosity of someone who knows, without a shadow of a doubt, that the flow of resources is infinite and that your needs are always met. Your breathing deepens, your shoulders open and relax. Your movements become more serene and deliberate, no longer rushed and anxious. The energy of abundance begins to speak through your posture, your serenity, and your energy field. If you seek health and vitality, begin walking with the posture of someone who is strong and healthy. Breathe deeply, like someone whose lungs are perfect and full of energy. Move with the grace and certainty of the vitality you desire, even in small, everyday gestures. If your desire is for deep love, incarnation is not about desperately seeking approval, but about radiating the fullness and self-love of someone who is already complete in themselves. Your presence becomes a magnetic invitation, not a needy plea. When your conscious mind says yes, your imagination says yes, your emotions say yes, and your physical body says yes, there is no longer any contradiction. You become a coherent being. And energetic coherence is a gravitational force the universe cannot ignore. People around you, even without understanding why, will begin to notice this change. They will feel a new authority in your voice, a new certainty in your gaze. They will see success, health, or love within you even before the external manifestations are complete. Because you will no longer be asking, you will be being, and being is the final decree. The fourth step, permanent residence. Being is the final decree, but there is one final key, one final secret that underpins the entire process. This is the decisive point. The line that separates those who merely play with manifestation from those who become true masters of reality. Anyone with a little effort can choose a desire, keep it secret, and even embody that state for a few minutes or hours. But the vast majority fail in one crucial aspect. They don't know how to remain there. They treat the desired state as a visit to an exotic country, but always return home to their former identity of lack and preoccupation. The fourth and final step of the Thoth ritual is therefore permanent residence. You no longer visit the state of your fulfilled desire. You move there. You give up your old vibrational address and make the new state your home, your fundamental and non-negotiable identity. It's no longer a 5-minute visualization practice in the morning, followed by 23 hours and 55 minutes of anxiety, doubt, and a return to old thought patterns. It's a decision that, no matter what happens in the outside world, your inner vibration will no longer move from that new center. The state of fulfilled desire needs to become so natural, so familiar, that you no longer have to strain to remember it. You simply are. It's like learning to drive. At first, every movement is conscious and awkward, but with practice, it becomes second nature. You drive without thinking. Likewise, you should be prosperous, loved and healthy without having to think about it anymore. It's your new default setting. This is where true faith comes into play, but not faith in external gods, but faith in your own consciousness as the only creative power. The world your 5 senses perceive is, and always will be, an echo of the past. It's merely showing you the reflection of your past vibrations, the seeds you planted weeks, months, or years ago. The vibration you choose to inhabit and embody today is the present reality, the direct cause of the future that the mirror of the world hasn't yet had time to reflect. Persisting in the new state, even when 3D reality seems to scream the exact opposite, is the ultimate act of power and loyalty to your vision. You stop reacting to the shadows on the wall and maintain your focus on the light that projects them. Your vibration always, inevitably, returns to where you reside. If your default residence is lack, even if you practice abundance for a while, the force of habit will pull you back into emptiness. If your residence is loneliness, even if you have moments of connection, you will return to a feeling of isolation. The goal of this step is to demolish the old house and build a new one, brick by brick, until it is the only option. Residing is an unshakable commitment, a sacred pact you make with your higher self. It's the silent certainty that although the world doesn't yet see it, manifestation is already a fact on the energetic plane, because you've already become the person who possesses it. When you reach permanent residence, the obsession with results and the frantic search for signs disappear completely. You no longer need to search for evidence because you've become the evidence. Your inner certainty becomes an unshakable rock amidst the stormy ocean of circumstances. And this silent, persistent certainty is, without a doubt, the most magnetic and powerful force in the entire universe. Now listen very carefully, for what I'm about to say is not a poetic metaphor or a figure of speech. It is the rawest, most direct and liberating truth you can hear at this point in your journey. The silence has already spoken. Your vibration, the one you chose to cultivate and reside within, has already issued the command. And what you asked for, or rather, what you have become, has already been granted. It is not in some distant future, not stored in a celestial vault waiting for you to become worthy through suffering or penance. It is here, at this very moment, existing as a fait accompli in an invisible dimension. This new reality is superimposed on your current reality, like a radio broadcast on a different frequency. It's just waiting for your vibration, your internal radio, to become stable enough on that new frequency so that the music can finally become audible, so that the image can precipitate and crystallize on the material plane. Manifestation is not an act of attracting something from afar, but an act of allowing what already exists in the quantum field to become visible to your senses. You're not creating from nothing. You're selecting a reality that is already real. This signifies something of monumental power. The external world, with all its circumstances and conditions, never had real power over you. Your life situations were not chains of a prison, they were merely a reflection in a mirror. Your words, however eloquent or desperate, never moved a single mountain. The only power that was ever at work, the only engine that ever moved the universe in your life, was what you embodied and felt as truth in your deepest silence. And understanding this places you in a position of absolute power, but also of total responsibility. From today on, there are no more valid excuses. You will no longer be able to deceive yourself or console yourself by saying, maybe one day, God willing, or if I pray harder, maybe it will happen. Now you know the truth. Now you understand the mechanics. Your words were never the royal decree. Your blind faith was never the true power. The decree, the sovereign order that the universe has always obeyed, has always been your state of being, your dominant vibration. You have always been the king, even when you believed yourself a beggar. This moment is your breaking point. It's the fork in the road where you must make a conscious decision. Will you continue to be a spiritual beggar, begging for scraps of reality with empty words and vain hopes, waiting for the external world to grant you permission to be happy? Or will you finally rise up, assume your throne, and operate as a creator, a true initiate in the mysteries of Thoth, who understands that reality is shaped by silence and inner certainty? The choice is clear, and before you now. The decision comes down to this: continue speaking and acting as someone who doesn't have, perpetuating the reflection of lack in the mirror of life, or maintain the silence of certainty, walk and breathe as someone who already is everything they desire, forcing the mirror to update itself to reflect their new image. Their old identity, the one built on lack, waiting and doubt, can and must die at this very moment. Its death is not a loss, it is their liberation, and by allowing it to go, their true self, the creator, finally awakens. If you've reached this final point, if you've gone through all the stages of this journey, you've stopped being a mere passive spectator. You haven't just heard about a ritual, you've become an integral part of it. Your consciousness has been activated, and every truly powerful ritual to be completed and anchored in the physical world requires a seal, a final act that marks the transition, that closes one cycle and begins another. This isn't a simple request to leave a comment or subscribe to the channel. It's a call for you to seal an energetic pact with your new identity, with your own soul. This is a contract signed not with ink and paper, but with pure intention and the power of focus. It is an energetic milestone that the universe, in its infinite intelligence, will recognize as the official turning point in your journey. If you've made it this far, you're no longer a spectator. You're an initiate. You've received the keys. To seal this knowledge and declare your new identity to the universe, comment below the phrase, "I'm ready to manifest." And if this content has changed something within you and you feel called to help this channel grow more directly, there's a contribution link in the first pinned comment. Any help you can give is very important to me and allows me to continue spreading more messages like this. But understand, just the fact that you made it to the end helps immensely. If you feel this knowledge might awaken someone you know, share this video. It's a powerful way to support us. And before you go, your journey doesn't have to end here. We've created a special video to help you take the next step and delve even deeper into what we started today. Don't leave yet. Click on the video that's currently appearing on your screen. See you there.